Instead of choosing to visit grandparents or relatives, planning for an overseas trip during Lunar New Year holidays is no longer an unfamiliar scene here in South Korea. And it seems like such holidays are still being planned despite high interest rates and inflation. We turn to Professor Bae So-young this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. People traveling abroad during national holidays, I'm sure this year's Seollal is no exception, is it?
Yeah, so many people are choosing travel over family gathering during this Lunar New Year holiday. And during this holiday period, over about 1 million people are expected to travel overseas. Especially on the 12th of the February, the Incheon airport will have around 200,000 passengers. And it's going to be the busiest day of the holiday period since the COVID-19 pandemic. And the number of total outbound travelers, which decreased to 1.2 million back in 2021, has increased to over 20 million last year. And this represents a recovery to about 70% of the pre-pandemic level.
That is a dramatic jump, but like I mentioned earlier, high interest rates and high inflation have been such headaches for many people here in South Korea, yet people are traveling overseas more and more. What's the reason for this?
Yeah, because of high interest rates and high inflation, almost all consumption has really shrunk. But demand for travel, it's actually exploding. So especially during this holiday season, sales of overseas travel packages are really booming. Such phenomenon can be fully explained by still pent-up demand for overseas travel, which had been fully suppressed during the pandemic period. And also, it's possibly because Koreans feel relatively more comfortable to make overseas travel and overseas consumption due to the severe inflation rate in Korea right now.
Definitely. Then we have to talk about the popular destinations among people. Now, which country is the most popular destination this year then?
Well, Koreans prefer traveling nearby destinations like Asia, constituting almost 80% of their outbound travel choices. In 2023, Japan, Vietnam, and Thailand emerged as the top preferred destinations, and it's anticipated that there will be a similar trend during this Lunar New Year holiday as well. Japan particularly has gained immense popularity among Koreans in recent years because of its proximity and also favorable exchange rate. So it has contributed to its status as a popular destination. Compared to the steep price hikes at domestic tourist destinations, overseas destinations like Japan are showing high satisfaction level among domestic tourists, and also they offer better value for money.
So it sounds like the closer, the more popular. It's good that we now have more freedom to travel around the world, but I'm sure this is not necessarily the best phenomenon for the domestic economy, is it?
Yeah, indeed. So Koreans are increasing their overseas consumption while extremely limiting their domestic spending to the bare minimum for survival. Domestic consumer spending has been decreasing gradually from 8.8% in the first quarter of the last year to 4.2% in the second quarter and 2.6% in the third quarter. But in contrast, the overseas consumption of Korean residents has continued to soar, entering the 80% range in the fourth quarter of 2022 and maintaining levels above 80% throughout the first 3 quarters of the last year.
But Professor Bae, I'm pretty sure there are some incentives provided by the South Korean government for people to travel and enjoy the holidays within the country, right?
Yes. So to encourage domestic travel during this Lunar New Year holiday, for example, the government is distributing the accommodation discount coupons so that way people can travel more domestically. But the thing is, beyond such short-term measures to promote domestic travel, it will be very much essential to fully support tourism service providers and also industry as a whole. And the government needs to make more efforts, not only just to attract foreign tourists, but also to identify and address the pain points of domestic tourists in order to motivate them to make more domestic travel and also ultimately enhance their domestic travel satisfaction.
Definitely. All right, Professor Bae, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Happy Seollal and enjoy your holidays.
Happy Seollal as well. Thank you so much.